when my husband and I were first married, we had a lot of extended and adopted family in the area, so we had people over a lot. I would work so hard for everyone to enjoy themselves. And like many hosts and hostesses, I would be scurrying about, preparing this, refilling that, cleaning everything. Even once people arrived, I kept doing all these things. I rarely left that 6x6 space of the serving area. I certainly never sat down to enjoy the company that was there to visit with us. Then, years ago, I was fortunate to be able to go to Israel as an emissary of then Bishop Miller. While we were there, we participated in a Sabbath celebration and meal. The woman who was presiding over Sabbath said something like this: "We work hard 6 days of the week. We get our work done. We make our preparations. Then, on the 7th day, we rest and we let the graces of God wash over us." Aha, I thought. So that's how it is. From those words of that sage Jewish woman, I tried, and am still working very hard at, getting all my work done so that when guests come over, I can let the graces of God wash over me in their presence. Dear church, as a society and as a church, we have been running from one thing to another for 2 years. We've been going non-stop. We've been filled with anxiety as a society and as a church. And now we're all anxious over, where are all the people? Why aren't they coming back? And here's the thing. When we're highly anxious, we can't think. We can't hear. We get caught up in cycles of panic and doing and doing and doing. But our doing seems to be going nowhere. And that causes more anxiety. So here is my somewhat radical suggestion, my encouragement, even my exhortation, and that is to take a Sabbath break for 4 weeks, sometime in June or July. Stop. Just stop. Take 4 weeks in your congregational life and stop doing things. Don't have a single meeting. Put your group Bible study on hiatus. Let your service projects lay fallow. Don't print a newsletter. Let your brains and your hearts and your spirits rest. I can already hear your thoughts on why this won't work. We can't just stop things. People are just starting to come back. They're just starting to get re-engaged. Yes, I know. And some of you who have VBS or summer camp in this time, you might be saying, but what about that? I say to you, what if you set up your Sabbath rest for before or after, or maybe part of it happens before and part after. But find a way to rest. Because I promise you that this rest will spark your imaginations and reinvigorate your ministry together. This rest will be infused with the graces of God. I wonder if you remember the story from Luke's Gospel after the resurrection when Jesus appears to the disciples and he tells them, "Wait here for the power from on high." Those disciples had been through a lot in the weeks leading up to and after the crucifixion. I am certain anxieties were high for them. John tells us as much, since they were locked away in a room. In essence, what Jesus was saying with his wait was, don't do anything until you get a fresh perspective. And that fresh perspective was coming from God, not coming from scurrying and worrying. Now, of course, we ask about worship, and that's still important for us to do. In that same Luke story, Jesus said, "Stay here in the temple." Presumably, there was worship happening there. So keep doing worship. And I can already hear church musicians and pastors and deacons saying, "Well, then we're still working." So I say to you, make it as easy as possible for everyone. Pick the songs that you can sing without thinking much about it. Speak the liturgy, or do a setting that you can play and sing in your sleep. And preachers, Pastor Phillips, Pastor Smith, and I are going to provide sermons in both manuscript and video format for 6 different weeks this summer, from Holy Trinity Sunday through the end of July. And in addition, the Synod's offices are going to put together and curate some other resources that can help you and your congregation recenter and to rest in the power of Christ through prayer and reflection. Some of you are going to need my permission. And so if you need it, congregation members, council presidents, pastors, deacons, all of you, I give you permission to take a Sabbath rest for 4 weeks this summer. Remember that God's grace is sufficient. And here's what I'm certain of. When we stop and breathe and listen and let God's grace wash over us, we will see things in a new way. When we're rested in the Lord, we'll find new energy and creativity through the Spirit.